State seems to think that more people on that committee, the better. Can't argue with it. Other than that, some of the requirements have changed from what it used to be versus what it is now. Still has to be an honorable discharged veteran, resident of the county. That's two biggies. Other than that, you can have at least one member representing a congressionally chartered veterans organization, which is like a VFW, AMVETS, DAV, whatever. Those are what come from that one. At least one independent member who may or may not be a member of a congressionally chartered outfit. Then on top of it, each member appointed in the section shall have demonstrated knowledge, skills, experience, public service, business, and finance. If an opening on the Veterans Committee occurs, Board of Commissioners shall provide notice of that opening to one or more newspapers within the county. Other than that, everything else is the same. They serve for a 4-year term. My suggestion would be to, since you do a 4-year term, term limited, get new people in. It's not a grandfather kind of committee. It's always should be updated by newer veterans, younger veterans that have served in the newer wars over the last 20 years. And because things change in the community. A lot of concerns are different from now, since, like our Honorable Irene Hoskins served back in World War II. Things are different. We need new blood on that committee. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have one more. Yes, Gary?
Hello. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Gary Shasteri. I'm from the Morris area. And I've been a county resident for about 38 years or so, originally from Lansing. But being involved in the county is something new to me, but I am interested. I'm in fact interested in applying for some of your vacancies, or a vacancy anyway, for a seat on either Construction Board of Appeals or the Economic Development Committee. I have a background in construction most of my life, for example. Currently, I'm a self-employed businessman as a drywall contractor. I've worked in Shiawassee County for the past 20 years. Hundreds of homes that I've worked in throughout the county, as well as Ingham and Clinton County. At this point in my life, I'm looking to volunteer more of my time to the community. In fact, I think Sheriff Begaud will probably testify to that. I helped out with the lobby at the jailhouse, for example, just recently. And I'm looking to further myself into the county affairs, so somehow. And I would like to start, like I said, with maybe applying for a vacant seat on your committee. I have a resume and a copy letter for, do I give it to the secretary or?
Yeah, to Kaylee over
Okay.
here. We'll get copies of that to everybody.
So thank you very much. I appreciate your time and
We appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for volunteering. Any other public comments this evening? We'll have another one at the end of the meeting. Okay, hearing none. We do have a presentation this evening. Cynthia Mayhew from Shiawassee Council on Aging, and she's going to give us an update.
I don't know how much of a presentation.
Well, that's what it's listed as.
I know.
Presentation.
Actually, the reason why I'm standing in front of you is our millage will be up. The tax dollars for senior services in Shiawassee County will end as of December 31st of 2017. And so we are asking that you do a ballot proposal to the voters again for the senior service dollars. The senior service dollars is about 60% of our budget for Shiawassee County. So I want to make sure that we consider that again. The Board of Directors from the Council on Aging is interested in it the way we have it now. We think that it's worked out these last 4 years, the way that the commissioners have done it, where I come in and present and ask for the millage rate to be set at a certain rate up to 0.5%. And as you know, right now we're at 0.43. So we didn't even use up to 0.5% for senior services. So, asking you to
questions?
consider it.
Any questions?
Actually, several of us are new to the commission. If you wouldn't mind just highlighting some of the activities and what you do with the funds that come from the county?
Sure.
That'd be helpful.
We have $1 million budget, and we serve all seniors 60 years and older in Shiawassee County with nutrition services, where we have congregate meals at our senior centers. We have 3 senior centers, Morris, Durand, and Owasso. And then we also go out and do home delivered meals for seniors. Now, these services that I'm talking about are not services that are charged to folks. They are on a donation basis. So if they can give back to the program, that's money that we're able to use to match the funding from Valley Area Agency on Aging. So we also have in-home services where we go into the homes and provide respite care, personal care, homemaking. I have 8 caregivers that work for the Council on Aging, and we have about 80 clients that we are working with right now to provide those services. And so we get funding from Valley Area Agency on Aging for those things. Our senior centers, we don't get grant monies for senior centers in particular, and so we have to use the millage dollars to support those 3 senior centers in their activities, which people come in for educational workshops, Alzheimer's support groups. We have foot doctor that comes in. We also have a hearing aid person that comes in. And then we also offer anybody in the community that wants to come in and give a presentation to seniors at lunchtime. And we do bingo. That's the most favorite thing. We have the we do painting. We actually have in Durand a whole group of people that do the painting over there. And it's very interesting because we do have different seniors age-wise in Durand as we do in Owasso. So even though we offer the same services at 3 of our senior centers, the amount of effort that comes from seniors in volunteering is it's different in Durand as it is in Owasso. In Morris, we have a small group of folks, which it is growing, that come in 3 days a week for meals over there. Now, Durand and Owasso, we offer meals 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at noon. And then we also have 2 appointed commissioners, Mike and Gary. And Gary's been on the board for quite some time. I've been there since the end of 2010 as executive director. I took over for Bob Ludorn, who was there previously. So we've gotten rid of the wait lists. We have a minimal wait list for in-home services. When I came on board, we had a wait list of 5 years, which is kind of impossible. How do you go on a wait list for 5 years, you know? And we actually have it down to maybe 7 people right now, where within 30 days they're getting a service, or something has occurred where they don't need the service anymore. But we want to get people the help. We want people to stay in their homes as long as they can. We've built several ramps for seniors in Shiawassee County, and we also pay for SATA services and transportation solution services. So any senior that rides SATA, SCOA pays for that. And we pay over $10,000 a quarter out in transportation services for seniors in Shiawassee County. And then go anywhere where SATA will take them, is where they can go. So nutrition, bathing, and transportation are 3 major components to our organization.
And there's certainly the social aspect of it,
Yes,
which
but
is really
Yes, and that's why we want them to come. We encourage people to come to the senior centers to socialize. But we know in order to keep people in their homes, they're going to need a bath, and they're going to need nutrition, and they're going to need transportation and ramps to access. So we are looking currently for volunteers to build ramps, because we had the Owasso Kiwanis Club that had 3 volunteers. They, we pay for the materials, and they would donate their time. And right now I have nobody. I had one contractor that helped me build a ramp this week for somebody. But as next year comes into play, we're going to need some assistance with that. And so I've been to the Home Builders Association asking for some help, put things out in the newspaper. So if you know of anybody that has the skill to be able to build a ramp and is interested in giving back, we could sure use the help there.
Is that an annual budget then?
Mhm.
The 1 million? And then how long what time period did the referendum cover? Is it multi-year presumably?
Pardon me?
How long does that petition initiative, that
Oh,
referendum
the
last?
proposal, the millage proposal,
yeah.
it's a 4-year proposal. Yeah.
And that's what it was last time then, and you'll be requesting that that be renewed?
We did 2 years on .35. And then we did this last year at .43, so, yeah,
Yeah, and it can go as high as
0.5.
And they're not asking for an increase, they're just simply asking for a renewal of the same millage that was passed 4 years.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, so 4 years ago, this was brought before us, we passed it at .5, and then I believe the finance chair had sat down with Cynthia, and she's doing a great job. But they had sat down and seen what the specific needs were and stuff like that, and in order to save a lot of some money and stuff and not charge the full amount, we just had a little workshop, and it kind of worked everything out. So maybe Commissioner Marks would do that again, and that, you know, rather than having to do it all in front of this quorum, you just come back with a little workshop and see what the needs are.
And we do that annually, where I come in and ask for a specific amount to be taxed. But we are not, you know, we don't want to be, we've got a whole lot more that needs to come out of the budget this year due to either grant funding has been cut. We never know what the federal budget is going to be. 1 year we had a situation where the federal budget wasn't passed, and everybody doesn't realize how that affects us, but it was 6 months to get our money back from that crisis of not having that federal budget passed, because that money goes to the state and then it goes to our region person, which is Valley Area Agency on Aging, and then it's given to us. So we actually had to reconfigure how we were going to do meals and not cut meals from people, but we ended up trimming back on hours of staff. And so I ended up, instead of delivering 5 days a week, we delivered 3 days a week. It cut the mileage back and it cut staff salaries. The reason why we like to do it 5 days a week, and we've gone back to that, is because it's a reassurance to somebody. It's a reassurance to the family and to the person that we're going there to deliver the meal. So not only is it a meal being delivered, but it's a safety check on that person. And believe me, we've saved lives by having that safety check. And then we also have a new program, which has been new this couple of years, is the KISS program, where we will call people in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, and say, good morning, here's your morning KISS, which means keeping independent seniors safe. And so I have one person that does that, and she gets to know the person on the other line just by a few minutes of talking to them. She'll know something's wrong with that person and say, you know, what's up today? You don't sound as chipper, or, you know, and we've actually have saved people again with that program. That a lady had fallen overnight, didn't answer the phone. And we have ways that we go either with the emergency contact. If we don't get a hold of the emergency contact, and this happened to be the neighbor across the street, and we like it somebody that's going to be able to get to them right away. So we call the emergency contact. If the emergency contact isn't home, within an hour we are calling the authorities to do a welfare check on this person. And so we have actually saved people, and we've also found people expired. And thank goodness with the one lady that we had found, we knew she was ill. She had no family here in Shiawassee County. They were all out of state. So who knows who would have been checking on her the next time if we wouldn't have been given her that phone call. So it's reassurance. It's reassurance to not only the families, but the seniors too. So we can use more people to call in the morning too. I mean, we got 11,000 seniors in Shiawassee County. So
Where's your office located?
our administrative offices is in downtown Owasso by Nelson House Funeral Home. And then I have a senior center right next to McDonald's in Durant. And we have one across from St. Mary's in Morris, which used to be their school gym, Nasium, and then they made it into a community center. And so, yeah.
Very good. Any other questions? I just have a comment or two. My understanding is that this particular age population is one of the fastest growing age populations.
Yes.
So that emphasizes the importance of this program. I am on that board as well as Commissioner Olshausen, and I'm also on the Valley Area Agency on Aging. So I guess I need to figure out a better way to communicate with the rest of the commissioners what's actually going on. I may not even had that question if I would have provided you with the information, but I do go to the meetings, and you provided a very good, a very fine annual report,
Mm-hmm.
which was very impressive with the amount of work and especially all the meals that you guys deliver. They cook them right there at the centers,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty amazing, and they're really good cooks because they always cook for us. For the meetings, you know, they have cookies and stuff. And that's Gary's favorite part.
We did hold our annual meeting though, the 26th of April, and all of the staff were there to that meeting, and I have staff supervisors that actually get up and talk about their departments to the board of directors. So, and that was the first time you've been to one. So, yeah.
It was very nice, and a great family atmosphere, camaraderie.
Yeah.
She passed out a lot of awards for longevity.
Yeah. I have
Pretty impressive.
I have an individual that she's been there 25 years, and I have another one that's 19 and 18. So that just tells you that people like it there.
Yeah.
It's not always about the paycheck, because believe me, they a lot of those folks make minimum wage. So yeah. So
Thank you very much.
thank you.
All right. Brings us to Economic and Physical Development, Commissioner Cascarelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item A, I would move to consider reappointing Randy Horton to the Sanitary Board of Appeals, representing the lending agency for a 4-year term from June 1, 2017 through December 31st of 2020, or until a successor is appointed. Authorize the board chair to execute all necessary documents.
Support. I have a motion and support. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion moves forward.
Item B, I move to consider reappointing Ryan Bartlett to the Sanitary Board of Appeals, representing sewage contractor for a 4-year term from June 1st of 2017 through December 31st of 2020, or until a successor is appointed, and authorize the board chair to execute all necessary documents.
Support. Motion and support. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion moves forward.
Item C, I move to consider appointing Casey D. Elliott to the Solid Waste Management Committee, representing environmental interest, for a 2-year term from June 1st, 2017 through December 31st, 2018, or until a successor is appointed, and authorize the board chair to execute all necessary documents.
Second. We have support, or motion and support. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion moves forward.
Item D, I move to consider approving the farmland PA 116 agreement for Kenneth E. Allen for property located in Hazelton Township.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion moves forward.
Item E, I move to consider approving farmland PA 116 agreement for Kenneth E. Allen for property located in Hazelton Township.
Support.
Motion and support. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion moves forward.
So we're clear, those are obviously two
Right.
distinct parcels located in the same township. Item F, I move to consider approving a farmland PA 116 agreement for Kenneth E. Allen for property located in Venice Township.
Support.
Motion and support. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion moves forward.
And the final item G, I move to consider approving Form L-4029 establishing the millage that the county intends to levy for 2017 summer taxes and authorize the board chair to execute all necessary documents.
Support.
Have a motion and support. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion moves forward.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Commissioner Marks on County Finance and Administration.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to consider authorizing the change from part-time 25 hours to full-time 40-hour status for maintenance worker 1 Alan Custer at level 3 of the RIDE salary schedule with a range from $24,774 to $30,309.00.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any further discussion or question? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion moves forward.
I move to consider authorizing resolution number 17-05-10, resolution requesting allocation of assets from MERS to reallocate the total market value of assets as of April 1st, 2017 between groups 1 and 90 of AFSCME, groups 21 and 22 of Teamsters Command, groups 13 and 18 of Probate Court, and groups 15 and 80 of Circuit Court, and authorize the board chair to execute all necessary documents.
We have a motion
Support.
and
I'll
support.
support that. On a command unit, was it groups 13 and 18 or 13 and 81?
13 and 81, did I say it wrong?
It says 18.
All right, thanks.
Okay, any further discussion or question? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion moves forward.
And item C, I move to consider authorizing budget amendment 17-5, enabling the transfer of annual surplus fund balance to 101-955-998-001, other retirement payments, and 101-966-999-000, transfer out to other funds under the annual budget surplus policy established December 17th of 2015, and authorizing the expenditure of those funds for their intended purposes.
Second.
Have a motion and support. Any questions? Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed?
I move to consider authorizing resolution number 17-05-11 to supersede resolution number 17-03-05 for submission of a Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund application for park updates at Henderson Park and Rush Township, as well as the use of up to $25,000 from the Waste Management Corporation Fund upon grant approval, and authorize the board chair to execute all necessary documents.
Support.
Motion and support. Any further discussion or question? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion moves forward.
I move to consider authorizing a contract renewal between the Register of Deeds Office and CoFile Technologies for annual maintenance and support for the Register of Deeds County Fusion Software Program for a 5-year term at a cost of $16,615 per year for the 5-year term, to be paid with $1,000 from the Register of Deeds General Fund budget, line item number 101-236-804-000, and the remaining $15,615 to be paid from the Register of Deeds Automation Fund, a special revenue fund line item number 256-268-700.000, and authorize Lori Kimball, Register of Deeds, to execute all necessary documents.
Motion and support. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion moves forward.
On to item F, I move to consider authorizing budget amendment number 17.3 to fund the special assignment of sheriff's deputy in the friend of the court budget, and, if authorized by the Board of Commissioners, the transfer of appropriation to fund the change of one part-time maintenance worker to full-time maintenance worker 1 status.
Second. Motion and support. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion moves forward.
I will now move to consider authorizing resolution number 17-05-12, senior citizen services millage proposal, and certifying valid language.
Motion and support. Any further discussion or question? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion moves forward.
Item H, I move to consider adoption of the tentative 2017 budget calendar for the 2018 budget.
Second.
We have a motion and support. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion moves forward.
Our final item, I move to consider authorizing a contract renewal between the Shiawassee County Clerk's Office and CoFile Technologies for annual maintenance and support for the County Clerk's County Fusion Software Program for a 5-year term at a cost of $4,430 per year for the 5-year term, to be paid from the County Clerk's General Fund budget, line item number 101-215-804.000, and authorize Carolyn Wilson, County Clerk, to execute all necessary documents.
We have a motion and support. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion moves forward.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner. Just a point of clarification at this point. When I first started watching, or coming to these meetings and watching these meetings, I often thought to myself, why are these guys rushing through these things and just approving them, boom, boom, boom? And I think that might be where we're criticized for rubber stamping things. These items have been thoroughly discussed Monday and Tuesday. So we're just continuing the process for the final vote on Thursday. And that's not just for the people in here, but the people that are watching live. Commissioner Parks.
Public Safety and Courts. I'd like to make a motion to consider authorizing the Shiawassee County Sheriff's Office and the Shiawassee Central Dispatch to contract with NetSource One to fill an already existing / vacant full-time systems administrator position to handle all network IT services for both departments for 1 year at a contract rate of $75,900, salary only, no benefits, that will be split between the 2 departments, and authorize the board chair to execute all necessary documents.
Second.
We have a motion and support. Any further discussion or questions? Yes.
I was not at the committee meeting. Just a quick question. That's full-time? Is that 40 hours then? Should I assume?
Sheriff can cover it.
Yeah.
It is, we were originally budgeting $50,000 for our IT person, and the 911 board was budgeting $60,000, so we saw a cost savings and decided to combine the services, so it saved us $20,000 on our end and about $15,000 on their end. But it is a full-time in-house IT person.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes, moves forward.
Vice Chairman, that concludes the report.
Thank you. Commissioner McMaster, Health and Human Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I make a motion, consider accepting and placing on file the Health Department 2016 annual report.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion moves forward.
Item B, I make a motion to consider authorizing a contract between the Shiawassee County Health Department and the Shiawassee Regional Educational Service District for social work services in the maternal infant health program in the amount of $60,000 for the period of May 15th, 2017 to May 14, 2018, and authorize Larry Johnson, Health Director, to sign all necessary documents.
Support.
I have a motion and support. Any further discussion or question? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion moves forward.
Good, item C, I make a motion to consider authorizing contract amendment between the Shiawassee County Health Department and the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality for environmental health services in the amount of $35,032 for the period of October 1st, 2016 through September 30th, 2017, and authorize Larry Johnson, Health Director, to sign all necessary documents.
Support.
Motion and support. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion moves forward.
Item D, I make a motion to consider authorizing a contract agreement between the Shiawassee County Health Department and the Great Lakes Commission for River Cleanup Grant in the amount of $5,992.50 for the period of March 30th, 2017 through September 12th, 2017, and authorize Larry Johnson, Health Director, to sign all necessary documents.
Second.
Motion and support. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion moves forward. Thank you, Commissioner McNeil. That brings us to the chairperson, Commissioner Root. No, the
Yes,
chairperson. Commissioner.
we heard our presentation today from the architect for 911, Mr. Van Putten. And as you can see, the bid came in fairly high, it was pretty high. The beginning of the week, I wanted to consider maybe looking at this a little further and maybe getting a few more commissioners involved. But I think after seeing the price come down to $610,000 and seeing the nearly $200,000 cut off, where I had told them I would feel most comfortable around $600,000 moving forward. A lot of work's been put into the project by Lieutenant Matikoff, by Mr. Van Putten, the sheriff, the 911 board, Perrin Construction, to them to be willing to work with us at this time. So I think I wanted to consider another month, but I feel at this time maybe pushing it off and having that chance of running into winter and maybe more costs on top of it. I fought like crazy to get it to $600,000. I don't want to add on to the $600,000 I wanted it to get to. So I guess at this time I'd move to authorize the Shiawassee Central Dispatch to accept Perrin Construction Company's amended bid of $610,927 and to hire them as a general contractor to renovate the Central Dispatch facility located at 702 West Corona Avenue, Corona, for use of the Shiawassee Central Dispatch Emergency 911 Call Center, and authorize board chair to execute all the necessary documents.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Is there any further discussion or question? Yes.
I just want to kind of echo what the chairman has said. You know, there's been a lot of us have had concerns about this project. Some of it starting from before we were even elected. But I think as a commission, those of us who have worked on it, we've kind of done our due diligence. We have a local contractor who has all local subcontractors. We've been able to whittle the bid down a little bit. We've checked into other options, new builds, on county property, on other property, kind of checked around and done our homework, and I think, I agree with you, I think we need to move forward so we don't raise the costs, or we don't lose Perrin as a contractor, as a general contractor. Like I said, I know several of you have worked with us and been to the meetings out there and done homework on your own, and I think we've done our due diligence as a board for the public.
I think in addition to that, delays always cost money. And if we delay this longer, and think we can maybe get rid of $10,000 more, you know, we could push it a month, which usually ends up being 3 or 4 months, which a longer delay means more money, so.
I agree. I've been on this committee. I'd like to thank Mr. Van Putten for all of his work, and I just think we need to move forward. Price isn't going to go down; it's only going to go up. Something that's needed, it's budgeted, and we need to move forward.
Gary?
I think the whole project is costing too much, that's my opinion. We're gonna have $1 million in the building just for 911 for 2 or 3 people, but I think it's way over budget. So that's just my feelings.
Okay.
Maybe this is a question for Mr. Van Putt. I've just taken a quick look of the cost items and the reductions. I'm just, over time, when you start cutting things out, I mean, was it a Cadillac before, and now we're getting the Chevy, which is more affordable, or structurally, everything I should assume will remain intact. But there's quite a bit there that's been cut. If you could speak to that.
And we worked closely with the, I think it was an ad hoc building committee on all these. We met with them twice last week. And then we met with the 911 authority also and went through these. And, in our business, we have good, better, best. And we're kind of now at better. But we've kept a lot of the critical, essential functions for dispatch. We also took a lot of the site items out, feeling that at some point in time they could be added back in, would not impact the function of the building.
And then, like, perhaps building a new house, you should always expect or anticipate some cost overruns, maybe up to 10%. Are we going to be having that conversation?
Well, we've been talking about that, and also the process, the mechanism of being able to respond quickly to those items. And we had talked about a possible contingency fund with the 911 authority of about 10 to 11,000, and we have not settled on a final amount on that.
So who's the final arbiter on sort of cost overruns and
Well,
managing
the
that?
process starts with the contractor. They encounter some unusual condition. They notify us as your architect, and we prepare documentation to get pricing. And once we get those costs, we review them and make sure it's fair value. And then we need to establish a process of getting county review and approval of those.
Including the 911 board, presumably they'd
Yeah.
be involved as part of that reviewing.
And we will be meeting on site maybe twice a month. And we'll be doing the meeting minutes of those meetings. And I think a lot of the 911 board and ad hoc committee members are planning on following up and attending those to see how things go. And we may have to cut some additional things to fund that contingency. That's kind of how I'm thinking about it at this point. Okay?
Thank you.
If this is approved this evening, is there a tentative start date?
Excuse me?
Is there a tentative start date?
Yes. The goal would be to start June 1. The contractor has estimated 5 months to do the work. And there is a liquidated damage clause that if it goes beyond November 1, there's a little bit of money involved. So that's the plan, and we're set to notify Perrin Construction after board has officially approved, and it says within 5 to 10 days they're to mobilize, provide their insurance, bond documents. So we're hoping come 1st of June, we start.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. We have a motion and support. Or if you want to reread that, or not necessary, but
You want me to reread it?
just so we're all clear on this.
All right, let me reread it. All right. I move to consider authorizing the Shiawassee Central Dispatch to accept Perrin Construction Company's amended bid of $610,927 and to hire them as a general contractor to renovate the Central Dispatch facility located at 702 West Corona Avenue, Corona, for use as the Shiawassee Central Dispatch Emergency 911 Call Center, and authorize the board chair to execute all necessary documents.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion moves forward.
And that is all I have at this time.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Other agenda items. Commissioner Marks, would you have something you'd like to add?
Yeah, actually, I will. As former Commissioner Schneider stated in his kind of address to the board, that the state has indeed increased the maximum capacity for VA board members to be seated. to 7, which would leave 2 open vacancies. So I guess, I would be in favor of filling those vacancies because it has been a board that's drawn a lot of attention. A lot of people want to volunteer, and I don't see impeding people who want to be involved on that board. So I guess I would make the motion that we post those 2 seats, those 2 as vacancies, and look for folks to fill them.
Is that a motion? We need a motion?
Yeah, that is my motion, yeah.
Okay.
We have support from Commissioner Olshausen?
We have motion and support to add the 2 positions.
Yep.
Make them available to the VA board. Commissioner Bart?
What's the status on, there's some legal things going on and trying to,
I don't know that we can.
I don't know that we should move forward with that until.
Well,
the
I don't
other
even
things
know
all
if it's
sit-
legal to
until it's all
discuss any type of
straightened
thing
out.
like that right now. I don't know. I personally, I don't have anything.
And this is just a motion to post the positions, doesn't necessarily
Yeah,
mean
this
we
is
have to
simply
fill them
posting.
immediately.
Well, I'm in favor of it, but I mean, if there's other issues going on, they need
Yeah, I
to
don't know how
be
it
straightened out
works.
ahead of time.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Otherwise, I am completely in favor of it, and I've talked to Mr. Snyder before, and, get some
More the
other
merrier.
people on there and
Yeah.
stuff, but, I just wanna make sure there's not other issues going on that are gonna impede and cause more issues for us down the road.
Commissioner Cascarelli?
Yeah, related to that, I know a couple of the commissioners were going to convene some folks and just do a review of some of those concerns that were brought to us in the past, and just sort of what is sort of...
I've been doing a lot of research on several different areas, the committee, the department, different services. So I'm up to speed on it. Probably in a week or 2, I'm gonna come up with ad hoc committee and some dates, so we can have some hearings. And it isn't necessarily to punish or persecute or prosecute anybody. It's kind of look and see, maybe things have been done wrong in the past. If they've been done wrong in the past, okay, we've learned from it, let's move forward, make sure that we're all on track with future stuff. I've been receiving some emails, I've received some stuff in the mail, because there's been some media coverage on it, and I've had comments at public meetings I've been at, that I've recorded. Individuals that want to come talk or have mentioned success stories of our department upstairs. So in a week or 2, we should hear.
Thank you. And then a follow-up question is, everyone is aware, we're working on some guidelines for an appointments process for the county, which has got a lot of attention. Quite happy about that. And is it fair to assume that these individuals, the recruitment process that I bring forward, would be used to fill these vacancies if we choose to expand the board?
I think that might, if I may have, I think that might depend on whether we have actual past, regulations in place. If they're not at the time of appointing, maybe we ought to wait to impose, any vetting of people until after we actually have officially something in the books. And maybe not put on hold any appointments right now. Let's just, we have cried about not having full boards in the past, and now we have had people, maybe because of reading newspaper articles or spread of word of mouth, but we've had several people come forward. My opinion is appoint people who are qualified, and then we look into, what you're talking about, and then once we get something in the books, then from that point on, that's the rule. But until then, I don't want to hold up appointing anybody.
So I
That's my
guess
opinion.
Commissioner Bartz raises an excellent observation and also further supports why I think the county should have in place some guidelines for recruiting and reviewing and appointing individuals to the various committees. And if this is just one example, if there might be some pending controversy that might be muddled if we don't have some good guidelines in place for doing that. And so, again, I've got some great press. I'm really pleased with the response of the community. And I think that, we should really seriously consider waiting until we have some guidelines in place so we can better understand these individuals, their backgrounds, what their motivations are, their experience and expertise. We had an individual tonight from Morris who's interested in economic development. Yet another reason. The response has been so good. Part of the guidelines are to help align interested individuals with those committee assignments rather than just taking first come, first served basis. And that really seems to be what the policy is that, or lack of policy results in, is that it's first come, first served. Raise your hand, send us a letter, and we're gonna put you on board. And I just don't think that that serves the county and the functions that we're responsible for discharging at this level. And so again, while many of them have been vacant for years, there seems to be a rush all of a sudden because there's some interest, and I'm very grateful for that. I think these individuals that want to serve will not be put off by waiting for those guidelines to be put in place and understanding the value, utility of having some reasonable, sensible guidelines for appointing these people to the various boards. So starting to sound like a broken record, and it's deja vu all over again here. I understand wanting to move forward, but again, these vacancies have been long-standing, and I think another 30 to 60 days, again, as I said on Monday, is not going to cripple the functioning. In fact, what we will be doing is putting a process which will make our functioning at a much higher level and avoiding some of the challenges, I think, that we've been experiencing in some of these cases.
I appreciate your passion, and you certainly have that, but our motion really, the only motion tonight is just to open the position. We're not approving anybody, you know, we'll take the applications. What I would request of you, you have taken this with both arms. Now I'm gonna ask, as the chairman of this committee, that you accelerate your job, and let's get something in place so we don't have to delay, you know, any appointments. The last thing we want to do is discourage volunteers. So hand in hand, we're having a lot more volunteers. So what I'm asking of you is that, is this process that you would like, that you're spearheading, can that be accelerated? And I mean really accelerated, so that we can act on this in our next, not tomorrow's meeting, but next month's meeting. I would love to be able to see, put those in place and move forward quickly, because I think delays too will really cripple our effort right now, and we have a lot of participation.
I'm committed to achieving that.
I would just like to state, just because he brings policies for next month doesn't mean that we're gonna agree to them and that they'll get passed.
That's
So,
exactly right. I understand that, but we can't agree to disagree or agree if we don't have them in place. So, or I mean, at least put forth. So I'm asking for an accelerated plan, as quickly as you can possibly get it done. Don't wait till next month even. You know, if you can get it done in 2 weeks, maybe we all can preview them, or we can't make any decisions obviously until the next meeting. But
That's my
you know,
full
if we
intention.
can hash this out beforehand, we don't have to go 60, 90 days, you know, to approve some policy. Yes, Chair.
2 questions. One, I'm not sure what you're meaning by legal, or are you talking about the statute that's moved it to 3 to 7 legal trouble, or well, I mean, what are we talking about legal?
Oh, just problem with the director up at the committee and going on, you know, all that kind of stuff. I just want to make sure everything's going well before we add more people to the mix. But I'm fully in support of adding two people.
And then to Commissioner Marks, timetable. Are you looking to post these positions after this week of meetings and then appoint next month, or are you looking at a 30-day process like?
I think 30 days, that's usually pretty general, right?
I don't think we'll be able to appoint nobody next month. Time we have to agree on this, and we have to put it in place, and then it'll be the following month before we can do any more
No, but
appointments.
that's the next month. Right now, we're just saying let's post them. I say
Yeah,
post them
I don't disagree with that.
30 days.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to carry on
No,
and
that's
get
okay.
off track
All right.
there. I just understood that there may be an attempt to bring back some of those appointments that we had discussed on Monday to advance out of this committee. And so, in advance of that happening or not, I just wanted to clarify my
I just
position.
want to take the opportunity to put pressure on them.
Well, I feel that.
Quickly, yes.
I think we're being a little bit overboard on this. I've been on the board, this is my 7th year. We've had people volunteer to be on these boards. They sent a letter of recommendation. Some of them I kept moving on. They've been on it several years. And I don't think it's that complicated. Most of these boards, all you have to have is just common sense. That's my theory on it. Buyers having a bunch of vetting and a whole bunch of legal things that haven't come in here, I think it's way too much.
If I may respond to that, just again to clarify, I think people are misinterpreting what I have proposed here. And they're calling it vetting. I'm actually looking for some very basic guidelines and procedures to help staff by how it will be posted, how they'll respond to the postings, a brief description about the function of the office so people applying can understand what they're applying to do, a potential commitment of their time, how much they might anticipate, some very rudimentary things in place that, as far as I can tell, most counties in this state have in place. And so, again, I don't want to make this, we all have lots of work. That's not my attempt here. It's simply to have a level playing field that our community members can understand and respond to in a thoughtful way. And it's a level playing field for everybody to compete for a vacancy on a given committee. And I think if we don't have those guidelines in place and some basic criteria, then it's subject to political whims and fancies of the day. And that's all I'm asking for, and please, don't misinterpret. I'm gonna try and make this streamlined and very basic. I've agreed to bring this function under my committee so that this full commission does not have to spend the time doing it. We'll do the process there and bring recommendations to this commission for consideration. So I just wanna clarify that that's my intent.
Yeah, I think that has been misinterpreted in the past, and that, you know, we're gonna grill applicants. I was assuming that you were putting together basic guidelines as to a procedure that we can follow on a routine basis each and every time, so that there isn't that good old boy slap on the back, hey, come on and join this committee, we can do this. What's that?
So there is no good old boy slap on the back.
Exactly, that's what I'm
Tired of
saying.
hearing that. That's, you know, there's no good old boy on this board. We had
Exactly.
4 members turnover. We have 1 member that's been on here longer than 4 years. I mean, there is no good old boy network. You know, these are all new people.
No, I know that.
And
I would say so
I'm
we
just
can't be.
frustrated to death on this process.
I'd like to call the motion.
We have a motion and support.
Excuse me, could I get a little clarification on what the motion is at this point?
Yeah, I don't know, I lost my sheet, I said, do you have that?
No, it's for the 2 positions to be added.
Yeah, so, I don't know, I'm gonna take wording, it's gonna
Go
be.
from 5 to 7.
Expand the VA board from 5 to 7 and post those vacancies on that board.
Okay.
For, what do we say, 30 days, or however long, forever. If you're interested, send your application in, if you're a vet.
Okay, thank you.
And we have support. Motion and support. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion comes forward.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I have on this topic, and I understand where Commissioner Cascarelli is coming from, and I fully support working with him, coming up with some basic guidelines, make sure we're not appointing somebody that's has a conflict of interest or you know, something that may hurt the board down the road. In the last 2 days, I've received no less than 5 phone calls. They're not from township or local officials, not from members on the board, and not from candidates who applied for the vacancies. There's people who have read, I either have watched this meeting or have read the stuff in the paper, and have talked to me about we should be very appreciative we've had these people step up. I know we've had Ken McDonough who showed up the other day, showed up again today and spoke. So I'd like to make a few motions to move a few people forward, make a motion on some of these appointments so we can get going, but with the understanding that I'm gonna work with Mark and within a week or 2 weeks, whatever, we come up with guidelines or whatever we can do to get this going. So I'd like to make a motion to consider appointing Cody Baker to the Zoning Board of Appeals effective immediately to December 31st, 2019, or until a successor is appointed, and authorize the board chair to execute all necessary documents.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any further discussion?
I'd just like to offer, I've had a lot of input as well, folks in my district responding to the headlines as well, and fully support what I'm trying to accomplish here, moving away from the status quo. That's why they sent me up here to represent District 7, quite frankly. They're tired of the status quo. This is the status quo, and I'm not going to continue to support it. I've made my position very clear. I think when we start managing our affairs by headlines, it's a slippery slope. I think the press has done a very reasonable job in representing the issue on all sides, and it can be interpreted in different ways. So again, my constituency fully supports what I'm trying to accomplish here. Thank you.
Any further discussion? We have motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll abstain.
Motion moves forward.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to consider appointing Eric R., and I don't know if it's IOT or YOT, it's Y-O-T-T, to the EDC Board of Brownfield Authority for a 6-year term from June 1st, 2017 through December 31st, 2022, until a successor is appointed, and authorize the board chair to execute all necessary documents.
Support.
A motion and support. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion moves forward.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to consider appointing Ken McDonough up to the EDC Board, Brownfield Authority for a 6-year term from June 1st, 2017 through December 31st, 2022, or until a successor is appointed, and authorize the board chair to execute all necessary documents.
Second.
A motion and support. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed?
Abstain.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to consider appointing Ken McDonough to the Housing Program Advisory Council for a 3-year term from June 1st, 2017 through December 31st, 2019, or until a successor is appointed, and authorize the board chair to execute all necessary documents.
Second.
Motion and support. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed?
Abstain.
Motion moves forward.
If I may. I'm sorry.
You complete?
I'm done. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
If I may, I apologize to my committee members and the public. I had raised this issue, tried to avoid this, and I asked if I would have support on Monday. This is a complete, repeat of what happened last month, and I tried in earnest to avoid that, and I thought I had the support that we would withhold. So again, in a matter of 48 hours, opinion shifts, and I don't always understand. So it's difficult when you're trying to manage and you think you have commitment to supporting your colleagues, and then things change quite quickly. And it's really hard to do your job as effectively as you can. So thank you.
And just for point of clarification, the good old boy comment that I made was, the clarification is to avoid that perception and mean or say that we have a good old boy system going on now. The point, I think, of guidelines is to help prevent or avoid the perception by the community that may be going on. I at no time said or think that we have any kind of good old boy system going on. But that's just my clarification on that. If people misunderstood that, then I apologize, but I don't think for 1 second we have a good old boy system going on. Any other comments? Yes, sir.
Are we able to create a consent agenda at least for the amendments for Thursday meeting, or is that?
We could, but we have gone over it, and the commissioners have raised questions about the legalities of, so we're not even gonna get into it.
All right.
Everybody questions every time we do every little thing, so we'll just present this agenda tomorrow and move forward with that.
Any further comments? All right, we're just to the final public comment, and I don't have any new slips, but I do have a hand raised. Mr. Schneider.
I just said real quickly, because talking to Commissioner Castrelli, is this, as far as clarification as this on your problem with the motion and what's going to be printed and what you're thinking about, everything for the Veterans Affairs comes right straight out of the law. It always has, all requirements and stuff like that. So it can't get any clearer than that. and it's been put in the paper by Pat numerous times, so she knows how to go about that. As far as the other committees, yes, there needs to be a standardization as far as what is put in the paper and let the people know exactly what the job entails before they volunteer. I agree totally. Okay? The other thing is back to the veterans issues, is right now there is no veteran serving on that committee that has served since Vietnam. That's 1975. That's 42 years ago. We have been in other wars since then. And this two vacancies should be filled with a younger crowd, as is to express their concerns and have their input, other than relying on guys from 42 years ago. Things change, it always does. And that's the whole idea, I think, about them increasing the amount of people on the VA committee. That's all, is we need new blood. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I fully support that. Sheriff?
I like to give credit where credit's due, and you guys are no exception. So I want to thank you for all the extra time and effort that you spent working on the 911 building. I know it required a lot of extra time in meetings and things like that, and I think you need to be recognized for that. So thank you. Also to Lieutenant Banton-Koff, she has countless hours into the night, even working on this stuff, and she really does a professional job and should be acknowledged for that. Gary, I didn't recognize you when I first walked in, and you might have seen the paper that Graham Sturgeon wrote a little article, but I'd like to publicly acknowledge his community service. He came into the sheriff's office and he did drywall work. He put in a new ceiling, came back another day and finished sanding and everything. And I know the first day he had at least 8 hours and additional time sanding and things like that. So thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you, sir.
Lastly, is if you exit out the back of the building, you'll see the Sheriff's Department's new Harley-Davidson motorcycle. I think that this motorcycle is going to be a great community tool. We're going to try to lead every parade for every city and village in the county. We're going to take it to the schools for the kids. I think it's a great public relations tool like that. We're going to have it out at the fairgrounds. When asked if we can provide it, we'd like to escort veterans for funerals, and it will be also used for some traffic details also. But I think one of the most important things to point out about this, if there's any criticism about the motorcycle, is that the motorcycle, we were sponsored on the lease for it, so we got a reduced rate, and the monies to get the Harley were acquired through the use of the government's 1033 program, so no tax money came towards this out of the county's general fund. It was all from the government's 1033 program that we were able to procure the bike. So you're welcome to go out and take a look at it. I think it's first time in the history of Shiawassee County that we've had a motorcycle, and I hope it's something the county can be proud of.
Are you going to do any enforcement?
Yes, it will be used for traffic enforcement as well.
Sheriff, are the keys in it?
Go ahead and check it out. Thank you.
Any other comments? Public comments? Going once, going twice. Meeting adjourned.